My beloved child, listen carefully because what I am about to share with you tonight is not something ordinary. This message reached you for a special reason. Out of millions of people scrolling endlessly, somehow your attention paused right here. That was not an accident at all. There is a reason you are here in this exact moment, reading these words, feeling something inside you that you may not fully understand yet. And before this message ends, you may begin to understand something important about a person in your life. Someone who has been acting distant, confused, quiet, and emotionally unpredictable, yet still unable to fully walk away from you. Do not rush. Do not skip ahead in your mind. Stay with this message until the end, because there is something hidden inside this situation that is slowly becoming clearer. There is a specific person in your life who feels far more deeply connected to you than you currently realize. In their quiet moments, when the world finally becomes still, they think about you without even trying to stop it. Your presence returns to their mind again and again. They replay your words, your expressions, and even small details about you that most people would never notice. Sometimes they try to ignore it. Sometimes they try to distract themselves. But your memory keeps coming back anyway. They look for signs of you in small things, even when they do not admit it to themselves. There is a feeling inside them that they cannot easily explain. It confuses them because part of them feels drawn toward you, while another part feels afraid of what that means. And the most important thing you need to understand is that something inside them is holding them back. Something they are struggling to fully accept. At first, it may seem like it is about something physical or something on the surface connected to your appearance. But before your mind creates painful assumptions, listen carefully. This is not about perfection. This is not about beauty standards. This is not about what society has told anyone to believe about how people should look or act. This is something much deeper, something emotional, something hidden beneath the surface of what people normally notice. If you have ever felt someone pulling away from you because of how you look or how you present yourself, then you already understand part of this emotional confusion. But the truth here is more surprising than you think. What this person struggles with is not a flaw in you. In fact, the very thing they struggle to understand about you is also the same thing that draws them in even more strongly over time. Yes, it sounds confusing, but it is real in the way emotions often are. The more time passes, the more they notice things about you that others completely overlook. While most people only see a simple smile, this person sees what is behind it. While others hear laughter and move on, they sense the emotions underneath it. While others glance at your presence and forget it, this person remembers. They notice how you sometimes hide your tiredness behind a calm expression. They notice the quiet emotions you try not to show. They notice the small moments when your confidence does not fully cover what you feel inside. And even if you think you are hiding it well, they still sense it in a way that surprises them. This awareness creates a strong emotional reaction inside them that they do not fully know how to handle. Because of this, their feelings toward you become intense and complicated. At times they feel close to you, and at other times they suddenly pull away. It is not because their feelings disappear, it is because their feelings become too strong for them to process in a stable way. They are caught between wanting to understand you more deeply and wanting to protect themselves from how deeply they are being affected. There are moments when they look at your pictures or think about your face for longer than they intend to. Not because they are judging you, but because they are trying to understand what exactly it is that affects them so strongly. Something about your presence makes them feel emotions they are not fully prepared for, and that makes them both drawn to you and afraid at the same time. One part of them wants to move closer to you. Another part wants to step back, because your presence feels real, and real emotions are not always comfortable for people who are used to hiding behind emotional walls. You bring something honest into their awareness, and that honesty makes them feel exposed in ways they are not used to. The truth is, You are not just another person to them. You represent something deeper, something real in a world where many things feel temporary, controlled, or artificial. In a world where people often wear masks, your natural presence feels different. And that difference is exactly what they are reacting to, even if they cannot clearly explain it. This is why their behavior toward you can feel inconsistent. Sometimes they come closer emotionally. Sometimes they suddenly become distant. Sometimes they seem fully present, and other times they seem lost in themselves. But underneath all of this is a constant emotional pull they cannot fully switch off. And here is something important you need to hear. The thing they struggle with is not that you are not enough. It is not that you are lacking something. It is that you are real. And realness forces people to face their own feelings. It forces them to become aware of things they may have avoided for a long time. Because of that, you trigger something inside them that feels both powerful and unfamiliar. You make them reflect on themselves in ways they did not expect. And that reflection can feel overwhelming when someone is not ready for it. So instead of understanding it fully, they sometimes retreat emotionally. But even when they pull away, they do not truly let go. Because what they feel does not simply disappear. It stays with them. It follows them into quiet moments. It appears when they are alone. It shows up when they least expect it. Your presence becomes something they carry with them internally, even when you are not physically there. There are also memories of small details about you that remain in their mind. The way your expression changes when you are holding back emotions. The way your eyes reflect what you are feeling, even when your words do not say it. The way your presence softens in moments when someone finally understands you. These details stay with them more than they can explain. At the same time, their emotional reaction is also connected to something from their past. Not because you caused it, but because your presence brings those emotions back to the surface. You remind them of feelings they once buried or avoided. This is why they sometimes seem overwhelmed, distant, or quiet around you. It is not rejection. It is emotional intensity they are still learning how to handle. Over time, something begins to shift inside them. Their resistance becomes weaker. Their emotional confusion becomes harder to ignore. And slowly, they start realizing that what they feel for you is not something they can easily replace or ignore. No matter how much they try to distract themselves, they keep returning to thoughts of you. Your presence stays with them, even in silence, even in distance, even in moments when they try to convince themselves otherwise. And because of that, a deeper realization begins to form inside them. They start to understand that what they feel is not temporary. It is something that has already taken root inside their emotions. And now, they are reaching a point where they will eventually have to face a decision. Either continue avoiding what they feel, or finally accept that their emotions for you are real and undeniable. Because deep down, they already know the truth. They are connected to you in a way that is not easy for them to escape. There are moments when they act completely normal around others, calm and controlled, as if nothing is affecting them. But when it comes to you, everything inside them becomes more intense. Their thoughts become louder. Their emotions become stronger. Their attention becomes fixed on details about you that they cannot easily ignore. They notice the way you try to stay strong, even when you are not fully okay inside. They notice the quiet emotions behind your confidence. They notice the parts of you that you may not even express out loud. And this awareness creates something deep inside them that feels like emotional recognition, not just simple attraction. Sometimes they try to move on. They try to stay busy. They try to focus on other people or other things. But somehow, their thoughts still return to you. Because what they feel is not something that can be replaced easily. It is not based on fantasy. It is based on something real they felt when they connected with your presence. And real emotions have a way of staying, even when people resist them, even when they try to deny them, even when they pretend they are not there. So what is happening between you and this person is not simple. It is not one-sided. It is not shallow. It is an emotional connection that is still unfolding, still developing, and still changing with time. And as time continues, their resistance will keep weakening, while their feelings continue to grow stronger. Eventually, they will no longer be able to ignore what they feel, and when that moment comes, they will finally understand what has been happening inside them all along. Something huge is waiting for you. This person remembers the very first moment they truly noticed you. Maybe you thought it was nothing special at that time. Maybe it felt like just another normal day and nothing important happened. But for them, something inside shifted completely. In one small moment, they saw something in your presence that felt deeply familiar to their heart. It was a sadness that did not need words, a gentleness that felt real, and a quiet strength that did not try to impress anyone. And without warning, something inside them changed. Their emotions quietly connected to you before they even understood what was happening. That is why they see you differently from everyone else. That is why their eyes sometimes hesitate when they look at you. That is why their behavior shifts in ways they cannot explain. And that is why their energy feels different whenever you are near. Because something about your presence wakes up emotions they thought they had already buried. Feel this carefully, because it matters more than it seems. What they are struggling with is not just confusion. It is the fact that they already care about you more than they want to admit. If they did not feel something real, none of this would affect them so deeply. But it does affect them, every single day. And they are trying very hard to hide it from others and even from themselves. Sometimes they pull away, not because they do not feel anything, but because what they feel is too strong for them to handle. It is not simple attraction. It is emotional depth. The kind of presence that cannot be explained easily. The kind of feeling that stays in the mind long after the moment has passed. The kind that returns in silence when everything gets quiet. The kind that changes how someone sees life. Stay with this, because what comes next is important. Very soon, this person will begin to show emotions they have been holding back for a long time. At first, it will not be obvious. It may appear in small actions, a short message, a certain look, or a moment where they accidentally become honest for a second. But when it happens, you will start to understand something you did not see before. They were never judging you the way you thought. They were fighting their own emotions the entire time. They were trying to protect themselves from becoming too vulnerable, because deep down, they already feel that you are not like anyone they have met before. And once someone realizes that, it is not something they forget easily. In fact, it changes how they think completely. This is why they sometimes worry about you in a quiet way. They notice how hard you can be on yourself. They notice the small insecurities you try to hide behind your smile. They notice how you sometimes avoid attention because you do not want to be misunderstood. And instead of pushing them away, this only makes their feelings grow stronger. Because your realness, your human side, and your imperfections make you feel even more genuine to them. And in their eyes, that makes you unforgettable. Do not skip this part, because something deeper is coming. Late at night, when everything is silent, this person finds themselves thinking about one question again and again. What if I lose them? This thought stays with them more than they would ever admit. Because even though they may act confused or distant at times, their heart has already made a choice. And that choice is you. That is why your presence affects them so deeply. Not because anything is wrong, but because it feels emotionally real. You remind them that love is not about perfection. It is about feeling understood. And with you, they feel something they have not felt with anyone else. You make them feel seen in a way that is hard to explain, and that feeling does not go away easily. Share this with someone who doubts their worth because of how they look or how they feel about themselves, because this message is important. Something huge is still unfolding here. The distance between you is not permanent. The silence is not permanent either. And the confusion will not last forever. A turning point is coming. And when it arrives, this person will no longer be able to pretend they are unaffected by you. They will stop hiding behind emotional walls. They will stop running from what they feel. Because some people come into your life only for a short time, but others stay in your heart for much longer. And whether they admit it now or later, you have already become unforgettable to them. That is the truth they can no longer escape. You were not supposed to understand this so soon, but the signs have become too strong to ignore. There is someone who watches your silence more closely than your words. Someone who appears distant on the outside, but is actually becoming more emotionally attached every single day. And tonight, the reason behind their behavior is becoming clearer. Stay until the end, because something important is still unfolding. This person has tried many times to control their feelings. They told themselves it was nothing serious. They tried to convince themselves it was just imagination. They tried to focus on logic instead of emotion. But every time they see you, those thoughts fall apart. Because there is something about your presence that they cannot ignore. It reaches them too deeply to be dismissed. And the truth they are afraid of is simple. If they fully accept how strongly they feel, they are afraid they will never be able to let go. That is what they have been hiding. Every time you enter a room, they feel the shift instantly. Even without thinking, their attention moves toward you. Their eyes find you automatically. Their emotions react before their mind can stop it. And the hardest part for them is knowing that you may not even realize any of this is happening. On the outside, they may look calm. But inside, there is emotional chaos they are trying to control every day. And what makes it harder is the way certain things about your presence affect them deeply. Maybe it is the softness in your eyes. Maybe it is the tired expression you sometimes carry when life feels heavy. Maybe it is the quiet sadness you hide behind your smile. Whatever it is, it creates a feeling inside them that is protective. And that feeling is scary for them. Because when someone starts caring deeply, they also become afraid of losing deeply. That is why they sometimes become distant without explanation. Not because their feelings disappeared, but because their feelings became too real to ignore. There are nights when they replay moments with you in their mind. Not the big moments, but the small ones. The way you looked away while thinking. The way your expression changed for just a second before you hid your emotions again. The way your silence said more than your words ever did. Those small details stay with them. Because your presence communicates emotions without even trying. And they notice everything, even the things you think no one sees. They were not prepared to meet someone who feels this real. Life made them expect temporary people, temporary attention, and temporary feelings. But then you appeared, with something honest in your presence. And now their heart does not know how to protect itself the same way anymore. Do not skip. You are getting closer to the deepest truth. This person compares others to you without even realizing it. They try to move on. They try to distract themselves. But something always feels missing, because no one else carries the same emotional energy you do. No one else leaves such a strong impression just by being themselves. No one else makes silence feel meaningful in the way you do. And deep inside, they know this truth already. The most surprising part is this. What they struggle to accept about your appearance is actually what makes them trust you emotionally. Your imperfections make you feel real to them. Your natural emotions make you feel safe to them. Your honesty makes you unforgettable. In a world where many people pretend to be perfect, you feel human. And that is what draws them in again and again, even when they try to pull away. Their emotions keep returning to you because their heart feels calm in your presence, even when their mind tries to resist it. Something huge is still waiting for you. The signs are already showing. Their behavior is changing. Their attention is becoming stronger. Their emotional walls are slowly breaking down, and when the truth finally comes out, Everything will make sense. All the confusion, all the distance, all the moments of silence will suddenly become clear. You will understand why they looked at you longer than necessary, why they went quiet sometimes, why their energy changed when you were near, why they always came back emotionally, no matter how far they tried to go. It was always because of something real, not surface-level attraction, but a deeper emotional connection they could not explain. And now they are reaching the point where hiding it hurts more than admitting it. Something huge is waiting for you. This is not ending in distance. It is not ending in confusion. It is moving toward clarity. It is moving toward truth. It is moving toward the moment when they finally stop denying what they feel. You became important to them in a way they cannot ignore anymore. And once someone reaches that level of emotional connection, nothing stays the same after that. Because some people enter your life quietly, but they leave a permanent mark on your heart. And whether they admit it today, tomorrow, or later, one truth remains: you have already changed them completely.